Seconds.
Okay.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And our next guest, I always love when this brother come on, because ever since I've known him, everything he said has come to pass. Everything. It may be 3 years later, it may be 7 years later, but I think some of that is due to our timing. Our timing. So I'm going to have this brother come on and share some things that he's been sharing with me over the past few years. And hopefully we can get hooked up over this StreamYard, because I know he has some documents and stuff we want to see. He wants to share that you got to see. And when he shares this information with you, it's 100%. So, J-Bach, it's all yours.
Hello, world, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Fantastic. Wonderful. So, yes, it's such a pleasure to be here on African Americans and African with Indigenous One. I can't explain. I'm beyond words. It's such a pleasure every time.
Thank you, homie.
Yes. We were talking, and we've been in a really incredible time right now. There's so much that's happening right now. A lot of us are going through a rough patch right now, but just keep the faith and hang in there. There's so much stuff that's happening, but there are miracles that are jumping off. It is off the chain, like a Snatch Medallion guy would say. Yes. Okay, so we were talking, and there's a lot of things that are happening. One is, all of us know, there's a lot of pressure as far as this whole getting the thing stuck in your arm. They want to see if you have proof of that, and if you have that, you can't work, you can't travel, you can't do certain things. And I know some people have done it, a lot of people have done it, a lot of people haven't. I'll leave that up to you. But there's a lot of stuff out there that's showing that, hey, you may want to seriously do some research and questions before you do that, because we have an idea, but we still don't know all the crazy ingredients that are in there. But we have an idea of what is in there. And there's a lot of things that are happening. I'm here in California. I was in the LA area, but I moved further out to the rural desert area. Now, our so-called here in California, as I call it, I don't know if you heard this guy, the dictator or so-called governor, Gavin Newsom. I don't know if you heard, but he came up missing. That's true. He went and got a third, I'll say purportedly, but purportedly he got a booster shot, a third shot, a booster of, I heard it was allegedly Moderna. It doesn't matter. So this is October 27th, and purportedly he fell seriously ill. So much so that he disappeared. And you can, if you want to go look on the internet, if you don't believe anything in alternate media, look in mainstream media. You'll see all kinds of stories and reports about how nobody knows where he is. And those of us that are, got our eyes peeled and our ears to the ground, this cat, something happened to him, all right. So purportedly he lives somewhere in Northern California. I think Bear Hooks, he has a mansion up there, reportedly, allegedly. And allegedly, approximately around the 1st of November, some special unit went up in there, and they got him. Am I connected or am I on? Hello?
I'm here. We're here listening.
Okay. I didn't know if he's still on my end. I didn't know if I got cut off on my end, so I'll keep going. So purportedly, and I'm saying purportedly and allegedly only because, I wasn't there, but there's a lot of stuff that's backing this up. So allegedly, on the 1st of November, he was taken to custody. I don't know who, but a military man. But allegedly, his wife and his 4 children ran into a panic room, and so the unit that took him into custody, they took him, and he was supposed to be really bedridden, and he had a private position next to his bed, and allegedly they told him, come along, and they took them and took him allegedly to some place like Guantanamo Bay or Gitmo. Now, while they were there, I heard they went back the next day. I think it was the 2nd, November 2nd, and when they went there, allegedly they found a basement. So allegedly he had some type of dungeon under one of his rooms, and it was a place where he had like child, not just pornography, but he was there's all kinds of reported things that he was about to do some stuff to some children down there.
Now this is allegedly, right?
Yeah, I gotta say allegedly because
Yes.
I wasn't there.
Right.
So I have to say allegedly. So, but I mean, believe anything I say. If you go research, I believe today is the 12th. Is it November 12th? Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so this was October 27th. He was missing. He was supposed to be at this summit. You know how they have these summits of climate change, and he was the biggest proponents of that. But when he didn't show up for that, you knew there was something going on. And allegedly, purportedly, he had a bad reaction to his jab, and he either had some type of purportedly no policy or Guillain-Barré syndrome, and it took him down pretty bad. And so he went out the scene. And for people that says, "Oh, that's crazy," you know what you're talking about. Then why did they have a bunch of casting calls looking for Gavin Newsom lookalikes? Okay, so, I wish I had to put it up on a split screen to show you, but there were a bunch of people that are in the entertainment industry that do background acting, like I used to do. They have casting calls where you can get on the phone. Hold on.
So what I guess he was talking about the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. And if you guys been paying attention, and this is, one of the things we have to do as a unit of people, we have to start doing more, because as you learn more information, as you learn that you're not a foreigner in your own home, as you learn that this is your home and you have people encroaching on you, and how are we going to deal with that? And how we're dealing with it isn't cool. We're sacrificing our children. We're sacrificing our children for this to go on. Is that how it's supposed to be? Would your grandmother say that was cool? Because remember, your grandmom is the one who gave birth to you. Yeah.
All right. Should I continue, or am I on pause? How's this work?
Hit it.
Okay. So where did I leave off? Because I don't know where I got cut off at. So apologies.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'll just play. So I'll just give a quick overview. So here in California, the purported governor here, he came up missing since October 27th. And apparently, nobody knew where he was. Now, the mainstream media was saying that, they didn't know where he was, and he just popped up a couple of days ago. Today, I believe, is November 12th. I think he popped up maybe 2 days ago and said that he missed the summit for climate change, or some type of summit. He was supposed to be there, and he didn't show. And he didn't do the Zoom or Skype either. And supposedly he missed it. He said the excuse was that he had to spend time with his family for Halloween, and his children were at the dinner table, and they, they really want him to spend time for Halloween.
I saw that.
Right. Now,
Halloween is more important than Christmas.
Right. Okay. So, like I said, I don't know if so anyway, so approximately around November 1st, roughly, purportedly, that a military unit of some type raided his pad and raided his mansion. And I have to say allegedly and purportedly because, just to cover,
right.
So allegedly his wife and 4 children ran into some type of panic room to seek shelter from the guys that were raiding their house. And so they searched the house and they found Newsom, and he was really allegedly bedridden. Like he had allegedly a bad reaction to his booster shot. He got this booster shot on October 27th, and it purportedly took him down. Either some type of Guillain-Barré syndrome or Bell's palsy, something like that. I don't know which one, but it took him down really bad where he was almost on his deathbed. And so allegedly this military unit took him and the physician that was with him at his bedside, took them both and took them to some place, some so-called black site, some either Guantanamo Bay or Gitmo or somewhere else. So what I heard was they came back to the same house and they found a secret compartment under one of his rooms, and it was a dungeon where allegedly there was all kinds of pedophile stuff going on. I mean, a lot. Like he had a lot of children up in there that he was having his way with, allegedly. So, yes. So, of course, the mainstream media said, we don't know where he is. He's just disappeared. And he just popped up, and like I said, a couple of days ago and said, I had to spend time with, I was at dinner with the family, and social media was all over. They was all over him. They was all over him like white on rice,
Yeah.
So, right. Because they had no explanation for it. The explanation he gave was they wanted him to spend Halloween, and but that explains the whole week and a half or so he was missing. Especially he missed the trip. He's the biggest proponent of this climate change, and
right.
He's the biggest proponent of he's in line with this whole thing about this whole lockdown and give up all your rights and give up all your freedoms. Get your shot. If you don't do that, then something's wrong with you. So he led by example.
Hey man, tell us what is up with Gavin Newsom. What is he doing that's so egregious in California that other people throughout the country would think is ludicrous?
Well, him and also the former New York, I don't know, it was a guy, Cuomo. I can't remember if he was the mayor or governor. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's one of those two. I get him and de Blasio mixed up.
Right.
I get those two guys mixed up. Anyway, those two guys, California and New York especially, what they call the so-called Democratic states, they're like the two places where they're always pushing the most nefarious type of, power grab control. You're going to take this shot or you're going to lose your job. You're going to have to do this or you're going to lose your job. You can't eat unless you do this.
Right.
Lately what's been happening in California is now they're trying to say that there's no more exemptions at all for children. The children that are in school, there's no more exemptions as far as religious exemptions for not taking that needle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not taking that lethal injection.
Right.
So what he's known for is he's really known for pushing that envelope and really just bulldozing over people's rights and just ignoring everything from the so-called Constitution and everything else. He doesn't care about any of that. He's really all about that new satanic, demonic system to where they want to just have everybody under the heel of just some insanity.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, what's happening is a lot of people are going along with it. There's a lot of listeners. Some have their eyes open and some are waking up. But unfortunately, there's still a lot of the masses that are, they're buying into this still.
Right.
They believe everything they're told. They wear their mask like a good slave.
Right.
Wear your mask.
Right.
And, they'll take the jabs and, they'll do everything it takes just so everything can go back to so-called normal.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They believe that this by by doing these things, and they trust the alleged so-called science, everything will be back to so-called normal. And we're going into the second year of this, okay?
Right.
Right. So what Nuisance is known for is he's one of the main proponents of just destroying not only economies, but just forcing everyone to just get on your knees. We're doing this. We're lawless. We're on some, hey, we want to kill you off, and that's what we're trying to do. We don't care what you say or try to do.
Right.
That's how they roll. And a lot of people can't see it. If you don't have the discernment to see it, then just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll get your results soon enough. Okay.
Right.
I don't mean to sound harsh, but we have to be honest here. Here's another thing. So I was mentioning earlier about California with the schools no longer. This is just recently. I believe this was the other day. They're saying that they no longer recognize the needle exemptions, religious or not. They don't care. Mm-hmm. So all the parents that are listening, if you keep your children in school, you're basically giving them consent to take your children and stick them up, literally stick them with that stuff. And that's not a rumor. They actually have CDC's website even have that stuff where they say that they can take them to some undisclosed site for so long, during a so-called outbreak. So if you keep them in school without your consent, without your permission, they can do it. So I don't mean to sound like I'm being an alarmist or anything, but you have to realize they don't care about you or your family or your children. They don't care about any of us. Of course, they don't care about them either. But the point is, we have to wake up to see that these are cockroaches. And you can kiss a cockroach and you can try to be friends with it all you want, but don't complain when it turns around and does you in. So if you have children in school, things are not going to be so-called normal. If you've already taken that needle, miracles can happen, but you really need to just do some research and, hopefully there's ways to reverse it. I've heard rumors that there are ways to reverse it, but I think it's a combination of like a spiritual repentance and some other steps need to be done to kind of get all those undisclosed ingredients that are in that needle out of your system.
Kind of like an exorcism.
Yeah, I mean, and this is not my opinion or whatever. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's in that we don't know of, but there's stuff that we know of that's crazy. I mean, purportedly the graphene oxide, and it's not just from the needle, but I mean, they're trying to smuggle it in foods, There's certain foods you drink, and if you take a magnet and you stick it on there, you'll see some tiny little particles run up to the magnet,
Well, J-Bot, earlier
Mm-hmm.
tonight we had a young lady on, and
Mm-hmm.
she was sharing with us. She's from the East Coast. She was sharing with us the concert that went on last weekend.
Yes.
And I just wanted to get your view from Los Angeles. How is it looking from there, being that it was in Texas and all of that, and it was with them Kardashian chicks? What do you think about that?
Okay, so glad you asked that question. So first and foremost, if you heard of, just to get people up to speed, there was this concert I believe it was in the Houston area. It was Travis Scott and purportedly, according to the mainstream news reports, they said approximately 8 to 11 people were killed, supposedly when they rushed the stage during this show. But if you get online, whether it's on social media or if you just do your diligence, you can see footage of the show and you can see some really strong demonic vibes from that show. Not just video footage showing, all the screens showing stuff about see you on the other side. I mean, they had that displayed on the Jumbotrons and they had fire and they had demons, and I'm not making this up.
No, she showed all of that shit.
Yeah, they had a CERN, CERN. For people who don't know what CERN, CERN is, CERN is.
Break it down.
It's a portal. So basically, it's a portal. It's an interdimensional portal. And purportedly, allegedly, it's used to, actually bring in entities from other dimensions into this dimension. whether you could consider a hell realm, fourth dimensional entities, whatever. But right on that stage that Travis was on, there was a round thing right on the stage, and it was basically like a miniaturized, smaller CERN portal right there. And I'm saying this because nowadays, if you want to travel, you want to fly, or you want to, what do they want to do? They want to make sure you're stuck with that needle. They want to see proof that you've been stuck with that needle. Correct?
Right.
Right. So most of the people at that concert, they wanted to see proof of that needle. So if they show proof of that needle, they have whatever was in their system. Okay. So here's the killer part, and this is what most people don't know. I believe the place was called NRG. I don't know the Houston area as well as I used to. I've been there a few times, but I haven't been there lately. But where they have the venue, they have 5G. And in some places they have it to certain NFL stadiums. I forgot I don't have the list that I could show you, but I can, but there's certain stadiums around the NFL where they have state-of-the-art arenas where they have stadiums where they have 5G underneath every seat under the audience, and they can turn it up as much as they need to get that desired effect. So if somebody's been stuck with a needle that had some type of magnetic or some type of nano stuff in their system, and they turn it up, and they can manipulate it with that frequency, they're probably going crazy. And a lot of people there had heart attacks. That's one of the symptoms of getting hit with that needle. What's the term? Myocard. Excuse my not knowing the name of the exact term, but it has to do with the heart.
Myocarditis, some shit like that.
Yes, correct. There it is. That's a common symptom from that. When they pump that up. Look at all these athletes around the world. Was that a lot of sites? They said 75 different athletes dropped dead or dropped out from having, who got that needle, and these are, top of their form physically, and all of a sudden now they're dropping out. I mean, there's tons of footage of that.
Yes, so, I mean the athletes is real big.
Yes, so getting back to this Travis concert, what if that was just a test run? Okay, is anybody out there in the audience? Have they seen that movie Kingsman with Samuel Jackson was the villain? Samuel Jackson played this guy named Valentine, who was kind of like a Bill Gates, big tech kind of guy, and he was implanting everybody with a chip inside their neck.
The cell phones.
Yes, right. Yes. And those cell phones, he was giving them, free internet and promoting that, and people were lining up for it. And then what he did was there was a scene in that movie where they were in a church, and he turned up the frequency with this knob, with this device, and everybody in that church became just crazy violent, and they started going a killing frenzy amongst each other. So going to that Travis Scott concert. What if hypothetically that was a test run of the same thing? What if they turned that knob so everybody that was in, they had proof of jab or proof of a needle? What if all those ingredients in there were activated and they turned up that knob to get them going and make them drop? Because if you look, it wasn't just 8 to 11 people. The witnesses that were there, including police and security that were there, they said it was at least 100 people. At least 100 people that dropped. I heard more than that, but they said at least 100. They more qualified to speak on it than I was, because I wasn't there. I wouldn't go to that. But hey, so I'm saying is, when going to these venues, not just concerts, but certain places, going to football games, basketball games, and everybody in there had their proof of shot. Matter of fact, I was going to go to an auto show here in LA, but now they saying no cash is allowed. And you can't get in without shot. We're going to do spot checks to make sure you got that shot. Now, that's a first. So, hypothetically, what's to stop them from turning up that knob and as another little trial run like they did at that concert? They could do it at a stadium, a game, a concert, an event with a lot of people.
So, you're saying they can use that to make people bend to their will? Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, there's footage out there. I don't have the internet access like I would like, but there's footage where you can see the graphene oxide where when they turn a knob, or they can use like certain things from cell phones and certain frequencies, and that stuff can go mold into any shape. It can go all over the place. It moves like it's alive.
Hey man,
and with this,
this sister was showing some. Because this is all from this Travis Scott concert, and I'm not really into that type stuff. But stuff she was showing that they were using frequencies. There was some kind of sound that was used.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, that's kind of tying in what I was talking about. So when they're talking about 5G is a military technology. It's a military weaponry, actually. And when they're talking, quote unquote, the V word about that accination start with a V. What if it's actually a bioweapon? Okay, what if it's actually a bioweapon? By description, according to the United States Code, it's classified as a bioweapon. So I have to tying into this concert. What were children doing there at the concert? 10 years old. Why do you have children at a Travis Scott rap concert?
Right.
Why would you bring your little children there?
Right.
There was I don't know if a lot of the listeners have heard, but there was an incident over in China at the Shanghai Disney where they locked the whole place down, and all the children there, purportedly in Shanghai, they were taking the children, supposedly testing them and quarantining them. So that same thing, if they could do that there, they could do that, try that here. They're already doing the stuff with that Travis Scott concert, And those Kardashians, word around the campfire, they're supposed to be a bunch of witches into some crazy stuff. There's pictures with Travis and what's her name together? What's the baby mama name? I don't know their names. Kylie, that's it. Kylie Jenner. There's pictures of those two together, and they've got drawings of all kinds of sadistic, satanic stuff to little children and babies. Why would you have that? Why would you be carrying that around? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We can't even imagine. See, people have this, and I say people, I'm saying most people that aren't waking up, they refuse to believe anything I'm saying. They have to see it the hard way. Okay?
Right.
If you tell them something, they're not going to believe it. If I suggest take your children out of school, check them out today.
Right.
And they say, oh no, you're just conspiracy theory, you're just crazy. Okay, fine. Leave them up in there. But then if they get jabbed, whose fault is it? Is it their fault?
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of my friends have children in school right now. I've mentioned this to them, like, look, seriously, you might want to consider, try homeschooling, something else. Pretend it's 2020 and they had to stay at home, because you're doing all this to save your job or to keep your job, but they can lock everything back down again and you don't have a job anymore. And then you compromise yourself. You see what I mean?
So is that because I'm not really in that realm, and I don't really have too many friends that are like that. But how are the people, the parents, the ones who have jobs and have to work that job to stay afloat? How are they being treated?
Well, from what I've seen from a lot of my friends and acquaintances and family and loved ones, they're being overworked. Because there's this so-called quote-unquote labor shortage. Now, all this is by design. All this is created. You have places where the shipping containers are stacking up. You've got the ports, especially here in California, the LA ports, all around the world where, the deliveries are being held up and slowed down where they can't unload the cargo. So you've got more and more empty shelves. It's, no matter where you live,
right.
You're starting to see these stores, they're having supply chain issues, okay?
Right.
All this is set up. All this is by design, all right? So, there are I've heard different reasons. Purportedly, one reason, allegedly, is due to the election interference, that there were certain executive orders that were kicked in while Trump was in office that he said, okay, well, any country that was involved with election interference, they can't bring their goods here. And that's one reason why a lot of stuff is being held up. And people say, oh, that's crazy, he's not president. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. Like you were mentioning, the acquaintance you were speaking of, in D.C., there was a motorcade going with helicopters going into the side of the White House. Biden's supposed to be overseas, so who was that?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot we don't know. But at the same time, there's more than meets the eye. And in other words, I'm saying is, tying into what you were saying a lot, if you keep doing what they want you to do, you're selling yourself out. It's going to be tough. It's going to get tougher. And just I would strongly suggest if you're keeping your children in school, be aware of the consequences, okay? Because by you keeping them in school, you're giving them consent. You don't have informed consent, but by keeping them in there, you're waiving your consent. You really want to consider getting them out of there.
Right.
What's worse, checking them out of school or just assuming that they're going to treat your children well, and then you find out that they've been jabbed and they're getting sick and they're having all kinds, there's all kinds of footage out there showing what's going on out there.
Yes.
And why do you want to stick? And there's all kinds of incidents. The people. I mean, your parents, and you're taking your children. You're suffocating your children with these masks on. Okay. Hypoxia and all this other stuff. You're putting this stuff. They can't breathe. It's hot. You got this thing over their nose and mouth all day, all the time. Then you want to have them stuck with something you don't know what's in it. So then when they get sick or something happened to them, then you want to, well, they got sick because you didn't get that jab and you made them sick. They caught it from you.
Right.
They won't ever look in the mirror and say, dang, well, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have taken them and had that stuff jammed into their arm. So what we're seeing right now around the world, regardless of where any of us live, we're seeing basically self-euthanizing in full effect. Those who won't wake up are choosing to check themselves out. And I know that's rough because I have dear family and friends that have done it, but we got to deal with the reality. We have to have the courage to look in the mirror and face what's going on, because until you do that, it's going to be a bumpier ride. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, man, that's just that, this stuff is right in front of our face. And as a nation of people, especially so-called Black people, African Americans, Negroes, all these different subgroups that we put ourselves into, we just make ourselves weaker.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then it also stops us from doing what we're here to do. Because a lot of our grandmothers and grandfathers and great-grandmothers and grandfathers and great-great-grandmothers and grandfathers that you've walked through yourself, you are your ancestors. They're not something different from you. You are them. And we keep pretending like we somebody else. I don't know shit. What this brother's telling you, I mean, a blind man can see it.
Well, I honestly, check this out. I have to let everything play out. We have to let everything play out because no matter what we say on this show or what anyone else says, some people have to learn their own way. I'm talking crazy to a lot of people. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm ignorant. That's fine. Right. But you won't be able to say you didn't know.
Right.
You won't say you didn't have a clue.
Right.
So, you just don't want to, hopefully I'm wrong and I'm paranoid and I'm all those things. I'll eat that. I'll take it. I'll eat it.
Right.
But what's worse? Me being paranoid, stupid, crazy? Okay. Or you finding out your child, your son, your daughter has been kidnapped from you and they're doing who knows what to them. Okay? And this is, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just, just bringing in things when you say something.
Now here's something that I didn't mean to cut you off. Here's something really quick that ties into what you were just speaking on as far as the ancestors and everything. We have a real special place, not only in this country, but around the world. We are a very special people, and we have a very special destiny if we choose to embrace it. Okay? And when I'm saying this because there is a lot about our history and our past that these forces don't want the world to know. They don't want us to know. They want us to be these dumbed down, two-legged wild animals. Right. And that's unacceptable.
Right.
That's unacceptable. So what I'm saying is we know that they're trying to reduce the population and everything else. So be it. That doesn't have to affect you if you don't want it to. And when I say you don't want it to, that means if you make that choice with free will and do the best you can and just be humble to our Almighty Creator. Miracles will happen. I mean, case in point, you got this guy. I don't know if any of the listeners heard of this guy named Klaus Schwab. He's the guy who runs this World Economic Forum. Search him and check him out, online. But anyway, this guy, he's the main one who's known for saying this quote, like, you will own nothing and you will be happy. All right? So he's really pushing this whole jab thing, this agenda, and having everybody, either the population wiped out or whatever. My point is, stuff is happening to him right now, okay? So, you got your Bill Gates, all these guys that are making these plans, but their plans have plans of their own.
Right.
And, your Gavin Newsoms, your Cuomos, and all these Pelosi's, and all these people in high places that act like that they're about to run stuff, but they'd have the tables turned on them. A lot of these folks, they're not where people think they are. I'm going to leave it like that.
Well,
so what I'm saying, go ahead.
I had a young lady call me one night after one of the programs, and she said, the White House is black. And I didn't understand what she was saying. I was like, ma'am, I don't understand what you're saying. She said, there's nobody at the White House. She said, I walk my grandson by the White House to go to school every day, and nobody's there. It's black. It's empty. You know when this was? This was about 6 months after you told me.
Yeah.
It was that.
I'm trying to tell you. Now, here's something, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. I'm in the LA area. I got out of the city area, but periodically I go back to visit. Now, back in, I believe this was September 17th and 24th of this year, 2021, there were two so-called earthquakes, and they were a week apart. And the epicenter was in this area of LA called Carson. All right, the first one was a 4.7. The second one was a 2 point something. Now, what's so unusual about these earthquakes, they weren't earthquakes. They felt like an explosion, like a deep underground explosion, like a boom. People that lived in California where we have earthquakes all the time, earthquakes don't feel like that.
Right.
They have different sensations. Some earthquakes feel like a waving roll, like almost like water. Some is like a jolt shaking. But this felt like an explosion. So right after these two earthquakes, why is it that all of a sudden Carson started smelling like a sewer? I mean, for over a month. I mean, it still does in certain places, but it's finally going away. So you have all these deep underground facilities, okay? The reason I'm bringing this up about the so-called earthquakes, what I believe were actually explosions. You have all these so-called DUMBs, or deep underground military bases. And these are places where they do all kinds of unimaginable wickedness and evil. Allegedly purported to take children that are missing and harvest them for their pituitary and pineal glands and torture them so that all this adrenaline rushes, and they capture that adrenaline and they call it adrenochrome. And they use it like a drug. They feed off it to keep themselves looking young and all that stuff. Don't believe anything I say. Go look it up. Now, the point I'm making here is, what if there are all these places all around the world, all these deep underground places, several miles, maybe as far as 50 miles, and what if a lot of those places are being destroyed? What if there's subterranean military units going down there having world wars down there right now as we speak, fighting different factions, freeing children? Okay? Now, what's really wild is, what if something happens, hypothetically, maybe a year, 2, 5 years down the line, where something happens and one of the places gets exploded or flooded, and the earth as we know it changes as far as the land masses. Whether it's the sea levels rising, anything can happen. There's an incident going on in, I forgot which country it is. I want to say Italy, I'm not sure. But La Palma, the volcano, has been erupting nonstop for several weeks in a row now.
Yes.
Okay, and now allegedly there's a thing where this is being artificially done by some type of weaponized direct energy weapons, where they're trying to get it to erupt. And if it does happen, places on the East Coast, especially toward New York city area, would get flooded out. I don't know if anybody's heard about that, with these huge 650 mile an hour tidal waves. Now, mind you, I was rapping about this stuff 20 plus years ago. I mean, I've got receipts for that. My J-Bach album, I was talking about this stuff 20 plus years ago.
Check.
It sounds crazy. Yes.
No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah.
So the point I'm saying is, nobody believes anything I'm saying, which is fine. I don't care. I could care less. The point is, a lot of us have gotten arrogant because we think just because we don't believe something, it doesn't exist. It doesn't happen because it hasn't happened to us.
Right.
California, like many places across the country, and Chicago, other places, New York, maybe even Huntsville, Birmingham, Atlanta, it's become more and more lawless. And I'm saying this because, and not just with the so-called illegals coming here from other countries and they're getting $500,000 from the administration here, not just that, but I mean, these so-called cops and law enforcement, they're helping a lot of these people.
Right.
They're helping a lot of these cockroaches. I mean, they can violate you, violate your family, shoot you, rob you, steal from you, kill you. And the second you lift the finger to defend yourself, they're trying to lock you up.
Right.
No, you're supposed to let them kill you. You're supposed to let these agents kill you. So, I've lost property. I've lost cars where, the cars are in my name, registered, insured, didn't matter. The sheriffs refused to give me a police report. So if you have insurance and you don't have a police report, guess what? You don't get settled out. You just lost. You try to sue and the judges do what they want to do. You just lost. So the lawlessness is all across the board. So hypothetically, what if World War III is already happening and it's literally a secret civil war? What if it's a secret civil war where it's happening underground and there's children that are being found, that unimaginable things have happened to them? Now a lot of people can't believe that. That's like beyond their grasp of reality. But what if something happens to where everything gets shut down, like another lockdown, like we had last March of 2020, and then they have it on the phones, the radio, TV, and they say, hey, you know what? This is what happened. The guy you thought was president, he's not here. He's been dead, and that was a fake. That was a double, and we're exposing all the wickedness. That's entirely possible. Now, people say that's impossible. Fine. You keep doing what you're doing, and then when it happens, don't be surprised. Because we have to either wake up, and if you don't wake up, you got to stay in bed and just take what you get. And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to, talk down anybody because, hey, we're all trying to learn. We're trying to do the best we can, okay? But just be aware that the world as we know it is greatly different than what we expect. And just know that just stay strong and stay true, and it's going to be a positive result. And a lot of positivity is already happening. But you got to have the courage to just not give in and punk out to these cockroaches, okay? That's what I would strongly, recommend.
So could you give us an idea of how things are moving positively?
Oh, well, I can give you several ideas. So, like, case in point, number one, a lot of this stuff has to play out, like I was saying earlier, with the forced mandatory so-called jabs and, the masks and stuff, because they want to see who's who, okay? A lot of people are willing to go along with this stuff. So the more people go along with it, wearing the masks and taking the shots and stuff, unfortunately, it's a strong possibility if you don't hold your ground, and there's going to be a result that's not going to be in your favor. So as far as the positive stuff that's happening is a lot of these people in high places, they're not where you think they are. What if a lot of these people are already dead and gone and have been replaced with doubles? Either look-alike actors wear prosthetic masks or actual clones. Right. I mean, this sounds like, this stuff sounds like some sci-fi movie stuff, but I'm just saying. I mean, Gavin Newsom gone for a week and a half. Yeah. And when he comes back, he doesn't look the same. I mean, how many times have you seen Biden where he doesn't look the same? I mean, so what if a lot of the people that you think are in power are already gone and not even here? What if they're not even human? You see? So now it gets really interesting because what I said before, a lot of us are unaware of what's going on, and that's perfectly fine. And not know, if we don't know, we don't know. But just the thing is, there's a lot of positivities going on, but you have to have faith and be strong and not give into this. If you give into this, you're giving them consent and you're giving them permission. Okay, if you don't object to it, you're giving them tacit agreement to go ahead and you might as well just bend over, let your toes, spread your cheeks, and say, "Hey, have at it." That's really what we're looking at. Okay.
Right.
So it's like a test. It's like a test to say, okay, the second you stand up and say, "No, that's not right. Enough is enough," then those miraculous doors will open for you. Because a lot of these people that are threatening you with your jobs and threatening your children, what if they're not even alive? What if they're not even human? And what if they're just there just to see what you do, what I do? Now, how much of a trip is that? So when I said about the positive stuff going on, a lot of these people that were, so hip to this so-called New World Order and all this stuff that they were trying to do, one world government, cashless society, and all this stuff, mark of the beast. A lot of these people that were pushing, not even say people, these cockroaches or entities that are pushing this, they're taking some serious losses right now. They don't want you to see that, but they're taking serious losses. I mean, the guy, I'll give you an example, allegedly, and they got blackouts for a lot of this. They got media blackouts, so they don't want you to talk about it. The guy, the CEO of Pfizer, allegedly, he got arrested.
Right.
But you're not going to hear that. Klaus Schwab, head of the World Economic Forum, allegedly, he got arrested. You're not going to hear that. Gavin Newsom, he allegedly, is on his deathbed from taking the jab that he was leading by example. Taking his own product. Look what happened to him.
Right.
Now here's the kicker. A lot of these pharmaceutical guys, the jab guys, they say they have no, they're immune from, you can't sue them. They say that any side effects or adverse reactions that you can't sue because you took an experimental thing and that's on you. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, so now I have to salute. What's the gentleman's name? Bald guy with a bow tie. He actually exposed them. He exposed the companies and the people behind those pharmaceuticals, and they actually can be sued. Now, just because J&J might not be able to be sued, but the people behind them can be sued.
Right.
So there's things.
So
that can be done.
So J&J, Moderna, all those are just front companies.
Exactly. So they can't. They're immune from liability because that they're set up like that. However, the ones that set up those shell companies, they're not immune. So the thing is finding out who they are and going after them. I don't know all of their names just yet, but I forgot the gentleman's name. He exposed them. He exposed the name of the companies and the name of the people that are involved, that are behind this whole worldwide scamdemic, pandemic. And the thing is, go after them, sue them.
Right.
They're not exempt. And see, the thing is, when I was talking about to see what we'll do, a lot of our people are punking out and taking it. So be it. Let them take it. That's for them. That includes, I have family. I have friends that have taken it. I'm not judging. That's on, hey, it's no problem. You had no problems. Great. I'm glad to hear that. But I'm just saying, if they turn that stuff on, like a Travis Scott concert times 100, it might be a different story. And Lord forbid, I'm not trying to find out that way. You see what I mean? So,
you know what, man? You know what? Seriously, you know what? Seriously, I hate when people say, like, apologize for being right.
Right. Right.
Dude, these motherfuckers know they wrong, dude.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And I don't think we should have to apologize to it. God damn it!
Correct.
You didn't have a Tuskegee experiment done on your ass and oncology. God damn! I mean, come on, man.
No, you're absolutely right, and you're absolutely right. And the point is, if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
Right.
Okay. And they want, again, it's so easy for a lot of times people want to blame, it's the white man, this is the Caucasian, it's the European, that. At some point, you have to take accountability. You have to really say, hey, you know what? They don't have anything to do with that. You're just a stupid mofo. That's all you.
Right.
You could blame, you could point your finger, but you got three on the same hand pointed back at yourself.
That's right.
So the point is, lead by example. And like I said, as far as apologizing for speaking truth, you're absolutely correct about that. So the thing is, at the end of the day, you're getting informed consent. So you can't say you didn't know. So when this stuff starts happening, you can't say you didn't know. There's a lot of studies that have said by the year 2030 and 25 that a lot of people that are here today are not going to be here by then.
Right.
They're not saying why or how, but I mean, there's so many different ways that it could happen, you know, through a famine. I mean, with this supply chain thing, if this thing continues at the rate it's going, you may decide that you need to go to get some grocery shopping at Walmart or go to Target or go wherever else. You might go in there one day and you go get your food and then you go to leave. They're like, we need to see your proof of jab. Did you get that shot? Oh, you're not leaving. Matter of fact, you coming with us. And you can't, like Roach Motel, you check in, but you don't check out. So that's another heads up. You know, we're dealing with a bunch of cockroaches here and they're getting increasingly desperate. And so, you know, I would say next time you go into a big chain store, I don't care what it is, make sure you drive around the front and the back of the store. Make sure people are walking out. Okay? So what I'm saying is, you know, these are some of the things that they, you know, have been talking about as far as wanting to do spot checks and proof of jab. Oh, we're doing it on site. You know, so a lot of this is just to see who you are, to see if you're going to punk out or if you're going to stand up, because we have not just ancestors that have been here, but we have, you know, cosmic brothers and sisters that have got our back, that are standing by. But they're not going to stand by. They're not going to help you if you punk out. You punk out, they're like, oh, shoot. You can waste our time helping that fool. They don't believe in us anyway. Shoot, right. Why would we help them?
That's right.
You know, why are we going to, you know, use our advanced power and weaponry? We could stop all these weapons, this technology against them easy. You know, like even in the biblical scripture, there's a saying, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I don't care if it's weaponized, needle, you know, the jab, 5G, 6G, none of that matters.
Right.
What matters is your free will and your choice. If you choose to keep going along with this without standing up, then you choose to get the result. Okay? And I tell anyone that. Anyone listening, you hear my voice, we all have a choice. Just because you may not know what to do, that's fine, but you have the choice. You know, if you choose to take punk out and say, okay, I'll just take this shot so I can still work, and then I'll figure it out later, okay, but that's your choice you made. Okay?
And do you know how much work we need done without that bullshit?
Thank you. You know, it's and see what you know, the irony is, here's the irony. The irony is all this has to happen, because without this happening, you know, this is going to show who's who. I don't care who's listening to this. This is going to show who's who. You know, if you know, what do they say? There's a saying, you know, I'm paraphrasing here, but you know, those that know when they hear it, you know, they know when they hear it. When you hear my voice, I'm just saying what you already know already. I'm just reminding you. You already know. Everything I'm saying is just, you may not know certain things, but I'm just reminding you what you already know. The bottom line is, you know when something's wrong. At least I should hope you know something's wrong, and you know that this is not wrong. If you go along with what's not right, then there's consequences for that. If you go along with something that's not natural, you know, what if this thing changes you and makes you something non-human? They're talking about this transhuman stuff, transhumanism. They want to make you some type of cyborg, you know, where they can control your movement. They can, you know, control you with the weaponized, you know, frequencies and stuff. And, you know, so, I mean, we saw that at that Travis Scott concert. You know, he tried to say he didn't know what was going on. He loved it. I mean, I saw an interview with him, and he was saying, oh, he's doing it for the blood. He loves it. I mean, I saw another interview. A lot of these, not just these Hollywood weirdos that are into this stuff. I mean, the big CEOs, there's a lot of this demonic, satanic stuff. This stuff is real. This stuff is real. I don't care, you know, I'm not a church-going kind of guy, I'll be honest with you. That's not my thing. That's not my lane. But I know truth when I see it, okay? And so the thing is, if you go along with this punk stuff, then that's the result you're going to get. So, you know, again, all of brothers and sisters, you know, if you got children in school, this is like a wake-up call. Get them out of there. You know, today's Friday, so you got the weekend to think about it. I wouldn't even have them going back to school Monday. I say, hey, you know what? They're not coming back. We moved. Yeah, that's it. So, and get them out of there. Get them out of there, or it's on you. It's on your hands. There's so much documentation showing what if they're injecting you with some type of alien parasite that takes over the body, takes over the brain. There's things about you even getting so-called tests that they're sticking something deep up your nose that goes through the brain. What if it's some type of alien parasite, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers? I'm just saying. You don't know. You can't say that it's crazy. You can, but I'm just saying.
So this is the kind of shit that's happening, man.
But listen, it's happening because we are a special people. But if we don't act and we don't step up and show that we're a special people, then we're a special sheeple. Okay? I'll say it again. If we're not going to recognize and stand up that we're a special people, we're going to show that we're a special sheeple. It's your choice. Okay? And that's what I'll say on that. A lot of people are sheeple, and they don't have the heart, the courage to stand up or think for themselves. They got to follow along, and it's nothing wrong with being intimidated, being scared, and everything. Nothing wrong with that. That's a normal a feeling, but you gotta fight through that. You gotta stand up for it. That's where that faith and that you gotta stand through that and do what's right. Once you step up and do what's right, you don't have protection. But if you punk out and you don't believe in that protection, then you're gonna get what's coming to you. They don't care about any of us listening. They don't care about any of us. They don't care about me, you, your children, your mother, your father, your grandchildren. They don't care about anybody. If you believe they do, then keep doing what you're doing and don't complain when it happens, because it's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? It's going to happen. It's already happening now. You're seeing it happen already now. If something happens to you, they're not going to put it on the news. They're not going to let other people see it. They're going to let you find out the hard way. Look at how many missing children, that go by. They don't put that stuff on the news all the time.
Man, I hear 1 million children go missing in America every year.
That's just America alone. They have all these underground bases. They have all this other stuff going on. There's all kinds of stuff that's happening. But people don't want to believe that. But they'll send their children to these places where they're going to have their way with them. Okay. They're going to have their way with them. Like I said, a lot of so again, you have to have the courage to stand up to this lie and this deceit and this wickedness and say enough's enough. If you don't, then fine. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting your booster, getting your operating system, getting your latest update on your latest operating system, and let them turn you into whatever they're going to turn you into. Whether it's a zombie, whether it's a cyborg, whatever it is, you chose that.
J-Bot, can you talk about the importance of us thinking for ourselves?
Absolutely. Well, thinking for ourselves is very important now, obviously, because I always talk about accountability, okay? It's nothing wrong with, I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything, and that's fine. That's what we're here to do. We're here to grow and learn. And so thinking for ourselves is so important. Don't follow along. See, we have this groupthink that's going on right now. This cancel culture, where if you don't do what everybody else is doing, or if you say something that's politically incorrect, you're going to lose your job. You say the wrong thing on social media, you're canceled, you're banned, you're fired, everything. So it's liberating when you don't care. When you don't care what they think, is liberating. You're free. Some people don't like being free because being free deals with responsibility. Because when you're free, it means that, hey, wait a minute. That means I got to be responsible for, my outcome. Some people like being slaves. Some people like being a willing slave and not thinking for themselves. They like to go what everybody else is doing because it's easier. Going with the grain is easier than going against the grain. And so when you don't think for yourself, you open yourself up to being thought for you. So if they decide to upload some software into you through a needle, through a Q-tip up your nose, and they decide to alter you because you wouldn't think for yourself, then that's what you wanted. Because you don't want the responsibility and accountability to think for yourself. So that's why I say thinking for yourself is so important as far as especially our past, our present, and our future. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to hear all that. You talking all that indigenous stuff or all that, African stuff or all that talk to this indigenous, American stuff. I don't want to hear all that. No, but they want to hear what's going on in the latest the football game. They want to find out if the Colts won or the Jaguars or the Raiders won. They're more concerned about what LeBron or Westbrook are doing.
Right.
That's what their concern is. Okay.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah, man. More people are getting up to it. I'm seeing more people every day just starting to really look at reality. And that's cool. It's better than what it was 10 years ago. At least more people, of course, with people like you spreading the word all over how you do it. You look at other forms of media. A lot of us think that there's just CNN and Fox. It's other media. It's
absolutely.
It's indigenous media. It's black media. It's all kind of media. Get in to see what people are saying, because it may apply to you.
Absolutely. And I'll just to piggyback on what you're saying, truth doesn't need a crutch. Truth doesn't have any fear. What does truth have to fear? Some people are scared to look at, to listen to other perspectives because it might shatter what they might have thought they knew. But if truth is truth, what are you scared of? Just listen to both sides or whatever sides, and then weigh it in your mental and spiritual court of law, and then make your verdict. You see, but if you don't have the exhibits and the evidence, how can you go forward and have a fair trial for your path?
It's just that simple.
Right. So again, I strongly suggest not to believe anything I say, and do your own diligence, and verify anything. Don't trust, go verify. And then you'll see, when you see, the explanations when governors go missing and these so-called world leaders are all of a sudden resigning, these big CEOs are resigning for no reason, or selling their mansions all of a sudden for no reason. It's not for no reason. There's a lot of positive stuff that's happening, but unfortunately, if you don't stand up and you don't get assertive, that means you're going along with it and you're accepting whatever they want to do to you.
Well, J. Bach, for your last words, what should we have to look forward to? Or what should we be doing now to get to a desired goal for everyone?
One of the things I would strongly suggest is I don't like that word trying because it implies you're not getting it done. So one of the things I strongly suggest doing, what I've been doing, is start by being more self-sufficient as possible. I mean, I get it. There's only so much we can do, but there's a lot we can do. And, one of the things I would suggest is if there's no electricity, no power, no supermarkets open for 2 months, I mean, what would you do? And that's a tough question. It takes some time to answer that. But think that right now, as far as there could be certain things to do that you can prepare, and there's nothing wrong with giving thanks to your Creator and to those who came before you, and for guidance and to help you ride through the rough waters. Because we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We'll be all right. But we gotta stand strong and stand up. But the ones that don't have that, it's just it's not for them, so it doesn't matter. But for those of us that are listening, those of us that hear my voice, think positive, because your thoughts create your reality. Okay? Your thoughts create, that's so important. Your thoughts create your reality. Just because you may not accept, certain things that I'm saying into your reality, that's fine. But your thoughts create your reality. And there's a lot of worlds out there. There's a lot of worlds out there that just because they don't show it on a map or they don't show it on TV doesn't mean they don't exist. There's a lot of worlds. There's paradise world. There's paradise, positive technology, non-harmful technology that's out there. There's all kinds of stuff. We have so many inventions that we've done that we don't even know. that have been suppressed. So, you know, in the meantime, I would wrap it up with just give thanks when you wake up every day. Give thanks and think positive, because your thought creates. So you have positive thoughts, you have positive results. Okay, and that also uplifts your spiritual vibration as well. Because when these cockroaches try to come against you, a lot of times they won't even see you, because that sounds crazy, but it's true. They won't even see you because you're on a certain vibration. You know, you got a bunch of people in different cars. They're looking for certain people that are on lower frequency, and they go after them. But if they don't see you, you ride right by them with a broken tail light or no insurance or registration expired tags. You roll right by them. They don't see you, but they'll go after somebody else.
Right.
But anyway, that's just an example. But yeah, so, you know, there's miracles that are happening. A lot of these cockroaches are high places are being squashed, and they just don't want you to know it. But they want to see that, you know, not only our ancestors, but our Creator wants to see that, hey, you know, that's my daughter, that's my son. I want to make sure they can stand up for themselves, and I'm proud of them when they do that. Then I'm gonna step in, I got their back. But they're gonna bend over and punk out and spread their hindquarters for this fool. You know, then why should I make the effort to protect them? And that's just a overview what I would say.
Well, brother, see, they love when you come, man. They love when you come, dude. So,
man, it was my pleasure.
All right, man. We'll come back and hook us up for the holiday seasons.
Man, it's my pleasure, man. And once again, man, it's such a treat, it's such a surprise, and salute to every one of you listening, man. You guys, my family, I love you guys. And just stay strong. Don't let these cockroaches get you down. If you got children in school, think really hard about that. I would get them out of there. But don't let these cockroaches put no pressure on you. I don't care what you do for a living. If you're not working, that's fine. You know, but don't let them get you down. Stay strong, because when this thing goes down, and it's going down, when it crashes, without us, there's no party anyway. Let me tell you that. There's no party. Without us, and nothing happening.
That's right.
You know, I don't care what they try to say or do. I don't care what they're talking about. We're so important to this equation that without us, there's nothing happening. So with that being said, with us being so important, we have to do our part. Okay? And now I'll leave it at that.
Well, appreciate you, brother.
Much love to you, man.
All right,
it's
man.
Always a pleasure, Indigenous one.
All right, brother. We're going to chat soon.
Okay, cool. Take it easy, man.
All right, homie.
All right. Later.
So there you have it. So listen. The information is, so you see everything, Babylon is falling down. You've heard that chant before. Babylon is falling down. It falls down faster if it doesn't have our vibration to lift it up. See, that's why a lot of times it stays where it is, because we lifting it up. All we got to do is walk away and build what our mothers and fathers and grandmothers and fathers wanted to see, what we want to see. You can't look through another man's eyes and build your kingdom through his. It won't work. You can't use his religious ideologies. You can't use his business ideologies. You can't use nothing. Everything you use, you have to create. Come on, y'all. I mean, this is simple shit. Ants know this. Ants know this. And like the brother said, we ain't got no excuse. We like to say we all this melanated and all this bullshit. Ass is wiggling. Ass is wiggling. You talk about you the black man. What's up, cuz? What you doing? What you doing, black man? African American? What are you doing? You're just waiting for your boss to come tell you what to do. So as indigenous people, I want to say, find your folks. Go to them counties where your people from. No matter how small, their towns, their villages. Find your folks. See what they was doing. Because that's what you're supposed to be doing now. We're going to go ahead and end it tonight, and we're going to see you in a couple of days. Peace.